Hello and welcome to the Soup Breakdown for the MS-06S Char Zaku 2, piloted by Char himself. This is, in my opinion, one of the best 2000 mid-range units in the game. It has a decent range kit, and it is a really solid melee kit, allowing you to kind of capitalize on both. You have your basic shots, comes off the Gatling, of course. Pretty solid, does decent damage, has some light tracking to it, as you can see there, and my favorite thing about it, it's reloaded manually, so you can kind of just spam it whenever you want. You have it at all times to be able to capitalize on. Which, as you can see, the damage adds up. Little by little, down to a 130 down every time. It definitely adds up. You also have the bazooka, which has some light tracking on it, but not much. It's not going to be anywhere near as solid as some of the other units tracking. Sidestep there to dodge some damage. But it does decent damage. Very handy. You have the leap that allows you to bounce off of a rock, an asteroid, and you can use that to get away. That was basic melee there. Use that to get away when you need to from Garobis or other things of the sort. Then you have the Zaku switch button. This allows you to switch into Zaku to do a toss of a tank, as well as a couple other maneuvers that we'll show off in a minute here, depending on the direction of input that you use. I think this is a really solid range kit. It lets you mess around a little bit, get some crazy setups going, as well as having consistent damage at all times without a reload. So you just have it. You only fire 8 to 9 shots at a time, so it's not perfect, but very, very handy. And of course, as they are physical shots, they will destroy other physical projectiles. And like we said, you can kind of just spam it. So it adds up damage-wise very quickly. You're able to take life bars out pretty respectively with it. You have that Zaku button, as we mentioned. By pressing side or just pressing it regular, you get that toss. But if you press it forward, jump up and fire the 2 beams. You can also fire it from the ground, or you can do a melee combo with it. We'll get into those in a minute as well. But let's show off the burst. Burst is very cool. A nice melee combo ending in a really solid hit. Unfortunately, he bursted out of it, but that's okay. We'll finish him off here. And then we'll go into the second round for the melee showcase. As we go into the second round, of course, we ask our usual question, do I think this suit is worth using? Yeah, honestly, I think that when it comes to mid-range suits, I think Char Zaku is one of the best in the 2000 range, as I said earlier. It has a really solid melee kit. It has a really solid range kit. Together, that makes it a great mid-range unit. It's not going to have quite as much power as a great melee unit, and it's not going to have quite as much options as a great long-range unit. But for mid-range, which is where most of the game is played, you're sitting real pretty with Char Zaku. This is a very good unit. We'll show the, as you can see, there's an AoE on that. Back Zaku lets you use the beam shot there. That's standard melee right there, as we showed earlier. Then you have side melee. Very nice. Forward melee. And finally, you have my favorite, which is back melee, which has, if we can get out of this combo, a dedicated stun. The fire off of it is real quick. You can do it in mid-fall, mid-boost. It's kind of hard to land, but once you start being able to land it, you will definitely notice the difference for having it. It's very, very solid. Go ahead and just break out of that. Things can't ever go the way I want. That's the whole point of facing an actual unit instead of trying to play around with it to show it off. The stun's pretty solid, too. It's pretty long, so you're able to get off most of your maneuvers with it. When you pair that in with the other melee combos, having a dedicated stun on a 2000 is really solid, since unlike regular versus, Extreme Versus doesn't allow you to choose strikers. You can't just bring a stun with you with any unit. It makes units that have stuns way more useful in most situations than units that don't. Even though this one is a little bit hard to land, as you can see there. I'm going to go ahead and burst out of that. Level up some damage, and dodge using that. Dodge using this. Get in close, and do a kick. That is the boosting melee. Thought that would land. As you can see, you can rocket into, bazooka into basic shot, which is very nice. It just has so many options when you mix in the melee and the ranged kit that it makes it really fun to play around with. Then you capitalize. We need our boost back. We're gonna take damage from that. Oh, very nice. Amuro just never wants to let Char win, as usual. Even a bot has to put up the biggest fight in the world to stop us. I think this unit is absolutely worth using, though. Definitely worth playing around with. Very, very solid unit, even though I lost to a bot while trying to explain why I think it's really solid. As usual, let me know your thoughts on the Zaku 2 in the comment section down below. This fight went the way that it always goes for Char, unfortunately. And until next time, I've been Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum. The Zaku 2 has to offer.